Hello and welcome, my dear friends. Welcome to, let's say, a special episode, a special review of a special vintage Mont Blanc that I recently bought. Several episodes ago, probably you've seen the unboxing of a Mont Blanc 252. If you didn't see the review, I will put it right over here, a link to it. And if you watch that unboxing, you probably know that I bought a vintage Mont Blanc in its original box. This is the cardboard box. And I bought this fountain pen for a great price. I found it on a dedicated Facebook group and I couldn't believe the price. I commented that I want to buy it. And I got it, guys, for only 300 lays, including the shipping cost, or the equivalent of 60.38 euros, or 64.89 US American dollars. Of course, I watched the pictures. I did not read all the details, all the information. I wanted to be the first that commented I want to buy the pen. And of course the seller mentioned that the cap wasn't in a good condition. By the way, guys, let me show you the pen. And this is the beautiful 252. For those of you who are familiar with this vintage fountain pen, you probably noticed that we have a wrong ending on the cap. And when I got this, I wrote to the seller, do you know the history of this fountain pen? Do you know if it had some work, some service operation? And the seller told me a fascinating story about this pen. You probably know, if you are familiarized with the Mont Blanc 252, that it has this mechanism of push and lock, and because of this mechanism, most of them that you find in the wild have small cracks. This has a little dent over here, as you probably can notice, and it also has this particularly large crack. And this is quite a common thing. The thing that is not common is the replacement of this ending of the cap. As you can see, this is a classic product from the beginning of the 1950s, and it has a symmetrical design to the cap. If this is like a cigar shape, this will be also the same shape as this other one. And I have some another 252. Unfortunately, also this one has a replacement logo, but I have others, so it should end in this dome ending and not this. This is specific to the models of the 1970s. I have also others that and the same. This is not a Mont Blanc, but this is a Mont Blanc. The differences between the logo is that this particular one was made at the beginning of the 1950s, and this is Kessa in the material, and this is simple plastic, probably from the second part of the 1950s. And of course I have also two Meisterstücks, but also specific to the beginning of the 1950s. Those are very interesting because you can see the celluloid is not plastic, it's celluloid, has developed this transparency in time. So this translucent part. And like I told you, I've got an amazing story for this fountain pen. First of all, this was bought in Romania at the end of the 1960s, and it came in this box. As you can see, I have some other boxes that I want to show them to you. So this has the same design, and interesting enough is from the same model 252 with an extra fine nib, and the other one is also 252 with an extra fine nib, but I also have this one, which is in a worse shape than the others, that has no mark 252. And actually, when I bought this one, it came with a pen, and it comes with the instructions, which is a very, very nice thing. But it came with not a 252 pen, but let me see, I believe it's a, let me see here, it is a 344. And that means that in my country, in those type of boxes, there were sold also other series from Montblanc, which is amazing about this box, guys. If we can show on the back, we have something written in Romania, cumpărat în 1962 vara, costa 176 lei. Interesting, the translation. I bought this pen in 1962 summer. Original cost 176 leis. So I have this is very interesting inscription, because the 344 bought in 1962 in Romania was bought for 176 leis. And I will search the records to see what was the minimum wage of a person in 1962, and I will see if this pen was an expensive one or was an affordable one. What is interesting about it, it comes with this leaflet. Interesting, it's in German, but it was sold in Romania. So probably you can see the configuration of this box is like this. The interesting thing about the box of my latest purchase, the 252, is the fact that it's different from the others. When you look over them, let me see, you can see that this is a larger box. And in comparison with the other boxes, this comes in a nice material, like a velvet material. And those have the row like hinges like this, you can see, very, very interesting. And I consider this a very, very elegant box. So speaking to the person that sold me this pen, sorry about this, guys, let me show you another type of box, also from the 1960s. And I was searching for a year. This particular one, I don't think is from Romania, because we have here Stockholm, so probably from Sweden, but also a box typical to the 1950s. And again, let me see the inside of it. It looks like this. Okay, returning to the story of our wonderful pen. So I contacted the seller, and she was a very nice lady. She said to me that in the ad she mentioned that the cap had this crack, and indeed this is a replacement part, because in the 1970s, when this pen was serviced, the service people did not have an original logo ending for this type of pen. So they replaced it with this part, which is specific to Montblancs made in the 1970s. So I guess that this is correct, because it had some work done in 1974 or 1975. Well, I'm quite fascinated when I find pieces like this. Again, it's not a perfect piece, it has a replacement part, and some of the collectors don't like those type of pens, but I certainly love this pen, guys, because this pen has an amazing story. Indeed, it was bought in the late 1960s by the mother of the seller, of the lady who sold me, and the mother of the lady who sold me was a doctor, and she had a philosophy. She loved quality products and considered the Montblanc the top of the line in fountain pens. This fountain pen was used by that lady all her life. She probably wrote recipes for her patients, I'm not so sure, but this pen has seen heavy use. Although it's not personalized, I like that I've I have in my collection a storyteller. And initially, when I talked to the lady and I realized that this is a family heirloom, I said to her, "Look, I will be very, very careful using it, and I'm very proud that this landed in my collection." And she was very pleased that this pen ended up in the possession of a person who really appreciates it. So, guys, the fascinating story of a pen made in Germany but bought in my country in communist times. Well, certainly a person that bought those type of pens that were made outside the Iron Curtain was a person that had money and could spend large quantities on a pen. I already told you that in 1962, 170 lays for a 344. This is a 252. So right at let's say in the middle of the quality. So on the first place were the Meisterstück, and I have here a Meisterstück 146. On the second place were the Series 2, and the Series 3 were considered the third, let's say, echelon of quality in the Montblanc lining. So let's say a middle Montblanc from the 1950s, but an expensive one, a piston filler, guys. And I will show it to you in this episode. Sorry about this long intro, but it is relevant to the story of this particular piece that I have in my collection. You probably know, if you watch my channel, that I already done a review of the 252, and it was this piece with, sorry, not this piece, but this piece with the broken ending. I'm not so sure if this is a common thing for the 252 to have a delicate ending right over here. If you have the Montblanc 252 in your collection, tell me if you had problems with the top of the cap, if it's fragile. It seems to be fragile, as I have here two examples of it being modified. But again, a very nice pen. And this particular pen that you see in front of you is from the second part of the 1950s. And why do I say that, guys? Let me see if this one has no, but I will show some characteristic of the Meisterstück, the top line. So this is the Meisterstück from the beginning of the 1950s, and I know that because I have two clues. This casein is of this color and not a white color, and the second clue that tells me is from the beginning of the 1950s is this type of feed. This is the so-called ski slope type feeder, an ebonite feeder. And on this one we have another type of feeder which was specific to the second part of the 1950s. Let me zoom on them, guys, for you to have a better look. So you can see a difference in the size, but also the shape. And this clue tells me that this particular pen that I have here was made in the second half of the 1950s, guys. So again, interesting about this model is we have a pushing cap, but not a desirable cap in my point of view, because in time you can see it develops scratches, cracks, sorry, on the cap. But it reveals one of my favorite open nibs from Montblanc. It looks like a butterfly or like a leaf. On it we have engraved Montblanc, 14 carats, and 585. What I love about this pen, guys, is a wonderful thing. First of all, we have a piston filler, and let me show you. this rotates, and we will see here the ending of the piston, which is in plastic, so not a corkscrew but a plastic material resistant in time, and very practical. Also a practical thing is this beautiful ink window. So a perfect pen for a person that writes a lot, like a medic or a student back in those days. And another thing that I love about this model, guys, is the fact that you can easily clean it. So it has a system, a very interesting system, similar to the Pelicans nowadays. If you turn the body like this, you can remove the section of the nib, and this gives you access to the ink reservoir. You probably know when you have to clean a piston filler, you have to do this operation again and again till you flush all the ink from here. But by having a way to open this part, you can use a syringe to clean it very good, and you won't mess this piston to clean the residues of ink. So this is it, guys. I love this fact that you can open it, and you can have an easy access to the ink reservoir. I had to show this to you guys right before I will do the writing sample, and because I can clean it so easily, I will fill it up with ink, and probably I will use a classic blue one. This particular one has seen lots of use, but you can see the iridium top is in perfect condition. A very nice writing instrument. I am quite eager to write with it because this is the first time that I will use it. But right before I will ink it, I need to leave the dimension of this particular pen on the screen. Bear in mind that I will leave the dimensions on the cap with this part and not the original part, because sincerely I don't have an original cap for this particular model. So let me place those boxes right over here, and I will take also a notepad for the writing sample. Let me see. I have one right over here, guys. Let me put the box right over here. And why not? I need to change the angle of the camera for you to see better the writing sample. And I think I will do it like this. Okay, my friends. And now let me see. Let me see what type of ink. Probably I will use a modern MONTBLANC ink, a blue one. So a royal blue MONTBLANC ink. Let me give it a little shake. Now I will open it. This is our pen. I will turn the piston like this. Now I will insert it in ink. And now I will draw a quantity of ink like this, guys. And now I will remove the excess of the ink. And I'm not so well prepared, so let me take a tissue from here. This is the tissue. I will clean it thoroughly. And you probably can see we filled it up with ink. I will leave it right over here. Let me show you it posts quite well. I will use it posted, and to avoid the little accidents, always after you fill your pen with ink, put back the cap and make sure you turn it around to avoid little accidents. So guys, what do I have here? Probably a little zoom will be in order. Let me see. And even greater, yes. Here I have a wonderful Mont Blanc 252. A very nice model, made in Germany. Made in Germany. I will say in the second part of the 1950s. Let's say in the late 1950s. Is not an early model, and this is because of this feeder. I already told you that. And interesting enough, it was bought in Romania. Interesting enough, in communist Romania in the 1960s. This particular pen was sold to me by the daughter of the original owner. The original owner was a lady doctor who appreciated high quality fountain pens. And I have to tell you, in the 1960s, if you had a Montblanc, you were a wealthy person. Back in those days in Romania, they had also products made in Western Europe, in capitalistic countries, but usually they were very expensive, and not all the people could have access to such quality pieces made outside the bloc of the communist countries. So, bought in Romania in the 1960s, this pen is fitted with a 14 karat 585 gold nib, a wonderful nib in this particular shape, which I love. This, I don't know about the size, but it seems like an F1, a fine nib, or it could be an M1, a medium nib. I'm not so sure. Let me test if we have some flexibility to this gold nib from the middle of the 1950s, like this. Now I am pushing the nib, and you can see we have if I push on it, the tines move a little bit, but I can't say we have a flexible nib. So no flex to this wonderful nib. It is a pretty juicy nib, and I will demonstrate to you right over here. You can see a very nice nib. And why not, next to it we need to see if we have some line variants of this nib. So here, no pressure, and now I'm starting to push on it, and you can see no major differences. So I can't say we have no line variants, no visible line variants. It is a pretty juicy pen, so it's quite good for signatures, as you can see. And now a curiosity, let me see if I can reverse write with it. And yes, reverse writing. Interesting. It scratches a bit, so I don't think you can reverse write for a long period of time. So it's a no in my point of view. But it looks like in reverse writing it writes like an extra fine one. It scratches a little bit, and like a fine one or a medium one, I can't say yet. Tell me what you think, guys. I have a fine nib or a medium nib. What's your opinion? So now I'm ready to talk about or to write about the quick brown fox that jumps over the lazy dog. And let me show it to you. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. A very nice writer. it certainly has some character to it, in the sense that it has adapted to the writing of the original owner, that lady doctor. It's seen a lot of use, so definitely it is an interesting one. You know that old saying, to never borrow your fountain pen, especially the fountain pen with the gold nib, because in time the gold nib matches your writing characteristics, and probably this is a fact. This is a very, very interesting nib, adapted for the type of writing of the doctors, and they usually write very, very fast and not so well calligraphically. Of course, I don't know this lady doctor. She certainly had a lot of taste, and I'm quite pleased to share the story of a 252. This is not a simple review of a model from Montblanc. I certainly feel the presence of the previous owner with this pen. I'm not so sure how to tell you. It's not a haunted pen, but I'm quite pleased to have this in my collection. And probably in the future I will leave its story written on a piece of paper. This is why after I will be dead or something like this, the next owner will know the story of a pen. It's very important to know the story of a pen, guys, and this is a wonderful pen. Tell me what you think about it. This was the story of the pen. I want to wish you to have a nice day, my dear friends, wherever you are. I wish you to find similar pieces like this, and if you can find some details about their stories, it is quite wonderful. This is the story of the Montblanc 252, the Doctor pen, and I will see you again with hopefully a story as interesting as this in the next episode. Till then, bye bye, and God bless you all, my dear friends.